Okay, what's going on, guys? This is it. This is the final episode of Altcoins Anonymous. What's going on? My name's Devin J. Dawson. I am the host. I've always been the host. I've never really said my name on the show, but we're going to cancel it, so it's over now. So now I can come clean on who I am, and even if you probably knew who I am, because there's only 15 listeners anyway, if there's public record of this, it'll all make sense. So it's over. We're done. Altcoins Anonymous is over, and I'm going to explain why. Altcoins Anonymous was a really interesting show that I wanted to do because I wanted to learn more about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, altcoins, whatever. I just want to get more exposed to cryptocurrency. And I figured the best way to do it would be to just voice my opinions on it. People would tell me I'm stupid. And then I'd have arguments with people in the chats. Because that's how it worked always in the past. And I wasn't even sure I was going to mention this, but this is interesting. So like one of the things that the reason why I got introduced to most of the people, part of the Bitcoin community that I consider like valuable. So like Junseth or fucking Chris or fucking Paul Sports or John or fucking Sean or Vake or any of these people or fucking ODB or fucking Timon or fucking there's so many people in the Bitcoin community, and honestly most of the names that I'm trying to think of right now are escaping me. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing. It's 4:00 in the morning. I just woke up, so I figured this is the time to get rid of this cloud that's been just kind of hovering over this. It's not really a serious thing, but like I really did appreciate the community. It's something I still want to be a part of, but it's done. And maybe I'll pick up something else in the future. In fact, at the end of this episode, I might put some reaching out things about some other people I was interested in maybe hooking up with. And they've reached out to me in the past too, but like it was just, like I said, this has all been kind of a weird gray area. But Altcoins Anonymous, bit by bit, that's really it. Even Junseth's world, there was even a talk of me even being on there at some point just for a little bit. I didn't really think it was appropriate, although I would love to do that, but that whole relationship kind of fell out as well. So it's kind of all part of the same story, and I'm kind of start going into it now. But when I think this is even before bit by bit, but I was talking to Junseth, Dante, and Sean a little bit. I think Sean is kind of scared of me. Not in like, oh, I'm scared of Devin, but like I don't think he really like trusts my intentions, and that's fine. This is all over, so it doesn't matter anymore. But Dante, I built up a little bit of a relationship with Dante, and I'm not exactly sure why. Dante reached out to me. Maybe I was just saying shit in the chat. I forgot how we initially got introduced to one another, but we built up a little bit of a repertoire. And Dante's also friends with, and as it kind of became occurred to me, he kind of is friends with all these like weird satellite Bitcoin people, but kind of in secrecy. Like he's friends with Dan, and he's friends with John. He's friends with like a lot of these people, but like he doesn't really make the relationship very public, and that's fine. But I think there's a reason to that I'm gonna get into. But anyway, so Dante I built up a little bit of a relationship with, and I don't think he has negative intentions. I think it's just kind of his personality, and that's fine. That's just who he is. I'm not trying to criticize that whatsoever. But we had built up a relationship. It was a pretty strong relationship. We'd be talking, not necessarily daily, but at least weekly, bi-weekly. Just about cryptocurrency stuff. He was trying to maybe start up a show. Oh, I was helping him out with OBS. He was maybe going to do his own political show, and I was like, yeah, I'll help you out with that. And then he kind of wanted me to be part of it. It's like I don't do like video production or online video production like as a job. I'd love to be honest. If I could be like a fucking Jamie for Joe Rogan or fucking Red Band for, whoever, or Blue Band for like Your Mom's House podcast. All these like random people, or Chin for like, Fighter and the Kid and Big Brown Breakdown, all that stuff. Like I would love to do something like that. Be a little bit behind the scenes, have a voice, but kind of just operate the machinery. I enjoy doing that type of shit. I like kind of, contributing. I'm not the expert on the topic, but I know how to fucking work computer. So let me just fucking do what I know how to do, and then I'll just be funny, because I'm also that. So as it turns out, I'm fucking really funny too. So I'm just joking. Anyway, the point was that we were talking about maybe starting up a show or something like that, separate, not like to compete with Junseth's World or anything, but like Dante always wanted to talk about political shit, and like Junseth and fucking Sean are, they kind of, they have the same exact political voice, which we'll also get into in a second, but two, like it was just kind of like I guess maybe it's the same thing. Basically, they would just kind of gang up on Dante. And so, like, when we were talking about this show, it became almost like a therapy session because Dante, wanted to get a little bit of feedback about the show. And I actually disagreed with John, Seth, and Sean. I thought a lot of the times they would kind of, like, gang up on Dante a little bit. And a lot of times they really wouldn't pay any attention to, like, Dante's resources. And then 2 or 3 weeks would go by, and it turns out Dante was right about something. And so, I mean, I don't think Dante's on the show currently. I haven't really been watching or listening to John, Seth's World. I've been trying to, but, like, the show is not the same since Dante's gone. And this is going to be kind of funny because I'm going to kind of shit on Dante this episode. But first of all, I love Dante. I'm not trying to start shit. In fact, I'd love to pick up relationships with him, whatever. I'm just kind of putting this out there why there hasn't been any content. Like I said, it's been a cloud looming. But anyway, Dante, and I'm not blaming this on Dante now. Also, this is just kind of what I suspect / what happened to me. I'm not trying to lie about anything or I'm just being honest. That's all what these have always been. If anybody has any questions, feel free to fucking contact me. Like I said, that's kind of what the whole thing is. I talk shit, you guys contact me. We figure it out until there's 0 listeners. Which is this is exactly what this episode's going to be. But anyway, Dante wanted to start a show. I started talking to John, Seth. And then there was some episode, so you guys might know this too. So there was an episode where Dante's getting upset about the fucking the episode notes. And these notes are something that Sean writes. So Sean writes the episode notes, and Dante was like giving John Seth shit about the episode notes, but passive aggressively, so Sean would take the heat. And, like, there was a lot of this passive-aggressive shit that was going on the show. And it's mainly because Dante would get pissed off because Dante would say something about politics. John Seth would disagree and call Dante crazy. Sean would get on top of the fucking crazy train and just basically repeat what John Seth says back to Dante like he's supposed to agree with fucking Sean. And Dante would just get upset. And I understand that because, whatever, even if, like, Dante is just pulling crazy conspiracy theories off the internet, John, Seth, and Sean really never had an actual, like, rebuttal for any of this shit he said. They would just be like, no, you're crazy because you support Donald Trump, or you're a fucking conspiracy theorist, or whatever. They would just, like, play fun, and that's fine. But, like, both parties would always kind of, like, make this, at least definitely to me, Dante would always be like, I know people in the fucking government that, like, talk to me about blah, blah, blah. I don't know if, like, certain organizations or maybe, like, it was just cops or whatever, but, like, he'd be talking to people and apparently, like, he knew something that somebody else didn't know. And John Seth would come up to me and be like, Dante says things that he knows things that people don't know. But I talk to people all the time and I know things that people don't know. And it's like, you both fucking don't know anything, you fucking idiots. Like, shut the fuck up. You're both full of shit and you're arguing with a third person about things you both don't know about. And I don't fucking care. But anyway, so I got kind of mixed up with that in the middle. And I was just, honestly, I was really just trying to make sure that the show would stay together. I know this, like, sounds kind of ridiculous, but, like, I had a little bit of, like I said, I had a little bit of a repertoire with John Seth. Not much, but, like, I was like, what the fuck? When is the show coming back? As a lot of fans were. We all wanted the show to come back with Chris and John Seth. We didn't understand what the fuck happened. There's more on that. In fact, I might get into that. In fact, what the fuck not? We're going to get into that. This is going to be a long one. Fuck it. So, this one's going up. I have more episodes that are not going up, but this one is definitely going up. It's been too long, and I have no more ties with anybody, so let's enjoy, boys. Let's be the enjoy boys. What was I saying? Okay, so John, Seth, and Dante were complaining with each other via me, and Sean was also part of this whole thing. There was one episode where we were going to do it live. This is where shit really started to get a little fucking weird. And it's not like there's still more to go, but, like, this is where it's like I started noticing, like, what the fuck did I get myself in the middle of? Because these people don't like each other. Anyway, so fucking I'm helping out. I'm trying to help out with the live stream. And John Seth, like, I think he owns, like, a fucking multi-billion-dollar company or something. He doesn't know shit about, like, the internet or, like, computers or, like, any of that stuff. And so it's, like, really kind of, like, it's really kind of like just interesting to talk to him about, like, certain tech stuff, because, like, he actually makes, like, online video content and, like, does certain things, like, that have to do with, like, his real work and making, like, podcast stuff. And so it's like none of this stuff really ever I just didn't match up in my head how little he would know about the actual production process, and yet he is, like, a content producer of, like, web stuff, and he, like, does blogs and he does SEO, and, like, he's very successful. Like, no one's gonna deny that, but, like, there was some very basic things just about, like, audio recording and just streaming that like we would try to like go over so we could do the live stuff, and like he was just kind of like not combative, but like I don't know, not adhering to like very clear stuff that he said that he understood, and like clearly the show never became live. Like they never could figure out fucking like phone conversations. There was just a bunch of stuff on the show that like they could have done more efficiently, and like I would be in the background trying to like help them a little bit through John Seth and Dante, and that's how I kind of got like involved in like the weird drama between Chris and John Seth, and like the weird drama between John Seth and like Dante, and the drama between Sean and Dante. It's just because like I was just trying to help out with like technical shit. But anyway, so sorry, I just kind of got a little bothered right now. But fucking where was I? So John Seth talking about live recording. I remember shit. I'm losing my train of thought. Damn it. And I don't have to stop this in the middle. John Seth live recording. Dante drama. Sean drama. Dante wanted to start his own show. I was helping Dante out with the actual, like he wanted to learn about OBS. Dante recommended I help out John Seth with the show. They wanted to do a live show. I tried helping out with that, and it never came to fruition because John Seth doesn't really listen to anything, which is something that Dante was complaining about, which is a lot of their fucking bullshit that they were having. And then Sean would like sided with John Seth, even though Dante might be right about something. It was just, whatever. That was that part. And then what? Why does this matter? I'm trying to think now. Live show, Dante. Didn't happen. Show notes. So I got involved with the live show, and I asked Sean about the show notes. And they purposely didn't give them to Dante. And I had spoken to Dante beforehand, and I was like, Dante, do you think it would be rude if I asked Sean for the show notes? I know they're kind of sensitive about this with you specifically, but do you think it'd be rude if I asked because I want to follow along with the live show? Dante was like, you're right. It might make Sean feel a little bit awkward, but you should if you want to follow along with the live show. So I asked Sean for the show notes, and like that was it. That was like, there's problems here. Clearly, these aren't going to get solved. Sean like became very defensive when I asked him for the show notes. He thought like he didn't say anything, but John Seth mentioned it to me afterward that Sean thought I was fucking with, or Dante thought I was fucking with. No, Sean thought I was fucking with him, and Dante got me to do it or something. And it's like all of a sudden now, I'm fucking Dante's fucking like pet. And like that's not what I was trying to do. Like literally all I've ever been interested in is learning about Bitcoin, and like I said, being Jamie from Joe Rogan. Like I just want to fucking sit behind the scenes, smoke a little weed, talk to the fucking main talent who know what's going on. When they talk about a random thing that I might know about, like, Rory McDonald changed his sponsorship from Dash to Bcash. Like, no one's gonna know that. Like, I know that because I fucking watch MMA every fucking day. But, like, you know, that's gonna be, like, an interesting little thing. Like, okay, that's an indicator that, like, there's a decline in Dash. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, no, that's not gonna, like, help the conversation. But, like, that's the type of shit I know. I don't mind, like, throwing tidbits of knowledge like that in. Like, I'm not gonna fucking, like I don't really keep up on current events. I just kind of keep up on, like, the trends. Does that make sense? I'm not on the day-to-day news thing, but, like, I like watching the patterns in the society. The large shifts. Anyway, so I asked Sean about the show notes. I could tell they got a little weird all of a sudden, and that was it. Like, basically since then, they had already had a bunch of issues on the show, but, like, since then, that was right after then, like, maybe 2 episodes after then, Dante went to jail, which basically really meant that Dante's back was just fucked up. I don't think Dante actually went to jail. I mean, he could have, to be honest. I don't really fucking know. I always get mixed fucking things. Like Dante's never threatened me, but like he's very he said very aggressive things to me, and like I'm not scared of some 60-year-old man. But then I said that to John Seth, and he was like, no, Dante's like fucking crazy. Like you should kind of like be careful with him because like he does do stupid shit. Once again, I'm not scared of some 6-year-old man, but like I don't really want to like get in any physical altercation with someone, especially because they're just mad at me about something over the internet. So it's like, I don't know. Like Dante is kind of cool, but like he might have some like psychological instability shit that's not just a character on the show, and I'm not sure if it's real or if it's just him peacocking. Like I can't really tell. To me, I thought it was always just peacocking. Like I'm not really like worried about him, but then like John says like, no, he'll stab you in the fucking eye with a fork. It's like, okay. Also, I mean, like, that's not smart. I wouldn't tell people that, like, he really is prone to that type of behavior, because that means, like, potentially he would be going to jail. Like, if people know that he's that physical to people, like, you don't really just go around getting to threaten people still. People eventually say something to the cops. So I'm still, like, I can't tell. I don't know what's going on between those guys and whether or not, like, Dante's, like, a physical fucking threat to people or whatever, but that's still beyond the point. Right now, I think he's a crippled old man. I don't mean that negatively. I mean that really, he's fucked up. I think his back's fucked up. I don't think he can really do much. And it's like, and you know, I say that lovingly. Like I don't mean like, oh, he's a crippled old man, like what is he gonna do? Like I mean like, no, he's, you know, he's an older gentleman. He's, you know, been through a lot. He's an old dude. His body's, you know, once you get up there past 50, that's it. That's it. You barely can piss now. So have fun. Have fun being old, guys. What else? Okay, so Dante getting a little bit upset with John Seth. Oh no, with Sean. I asked for patch or the show notes, the patch notes. And so then that's when like I kind of got interjected and it got a little bit weird. So after that, I kind of distanced myself a little bit with John Seth and Sean, just because I could see that there were sides forming, and I wasn't gonna be part of whatever was gonna happen. It seemed like I had become part of the John Seth or the Dante team. Wasn't my intention, but you know what I mean? Like I can't control how people react to a fucking simple, like, hey, you guys want to do a live stream? I need to know what's going on with the show notes. So apparently Sean got upset, and that was why that never happened. I would love to help out with a live show, but I mean, partially, that's, to my understanding, that's why it never really came to fruition. I remember waiting like 2-3 weeks trying to fucking get that shit set up. Oh, and I remember saying, yeah, like John Seth, I kind of went off on how John Seth doesn't know anything about fucking internet or like computer. Like he didn't even have a fucking broadband internet connection. I guess because they live in Florida and it was just after the hurricane or whatever. Like he couldn't get internet, but like he had some like fucking $20 a month internet, and it's like all he had to do was like spend $20 extra, and like he just didn't want to budge on having internet in his house for whatever the fucking stupid reason. Maybe he wants to read books or something. I don't know. He has no self-control. I don't know, whatever the fuck, but he just wanted to run a fucking live television show from his fucking house without having an internet connection, and like you can't do that. So I don't know if he figured that out since, but I mean, someone who's like makes online web content, like this should have been like the first thing you know about. Whatever. Anyway, so that was that. That show probably was never going to be live. If anybody told you otherwise. I think they actually did do one show, but it kept dropping. It's because they were on John Seth's stupid fucking internet. Didn't have like it was like satellite like Wi-Fi that he paid for or something. I don't know. But he could have easily got FiOS and didn't want to do it. Because I spoke to him about it. And then he was like, maybe going to do it. And he's like, no, we're just not going to do it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Then you can't do a live show. And then I think what happened was that they ended up moving the studio, which is probably a huge part of it. I think they ended up just starting doing it as work. But then I think by that time, Dante was gone. And who the fuck is going to listen to Sean and John Seth just be John Seth for an hour? Like, just, like, no offense, Sean. And Sean, honestly, dude, like, I think you're a really smart dude, but, like, we don't need to hear John Seth talk to John Seth. You know what I mean? You guys do. So, you You know what I mean? That was Dante's main complaint. It's just the way they didn't need to hear fucking Junseth talk to Junseth and both be yelling at Dante, which I understood. Like, that made sense to me. That's what the show sounded like to me. So I get that. Anyway, so that was kind of the falling out between all those guys. One little tidbit also I'll add in there, and this is why it's not that I don't talk to Junseth, or I don't know if he doesn't talk to me or whatever, but I had asked him to be a connection on LinkedIn, and then he kind of was like, yeah, sure, no problem, and then just ghosted me after that. And I don't know what the fuck happened, but like, it doesn't really matter. It was just a weird thing. Like, I was trying to connect with them on like a real life basis, and not in a weird like, I want to use your connections, whatever. To me personally, it was just like, I just thought it'd be cool to know Joshua and Seth as a real life connection. Like, it would just be on my LinkedIn. To me, it would be a very important connection that would mean a lot to me. So I wanted to have him on LinkedIn. I don't care about most people on LinkedIn. He's probably one of the only people I would even care about. I have like 70 fucking connections on LinkedIn. And I'm not really interested in like making my LinkedIn better by any means. But I just, would be kind of funny is just having Junseth be like one of my connections. I just thought that would have been cool. After he said it'd be cool, I added him. And then he just kind of ghosted me after that. And I was like, all right, whatever, that's fine. So now I have a weird situation with Junseth and Sean, right? And I'm on the Dante team. Some time passes. I don't know how much time at this point we're talking about, but me and Dante get in a conversation about Dan's project, Bitcoins, right? And the conversation gets a little heated, which is not something that is like random for me and Dante. Like, we would both get excited about stuff, but like, I can get excited and not take it personally. Dante, I don't think, can take things personally. And now I remember specifically what happened. Dante was not liking what I was saying. I said that Bitcoins was an ICO, and there was a pre-mine. And Dante was not down with this. He didn't want to like admit that like, well, I guess it's not really I forgot what I just basically said, that like, I don't think it was a pre-mine. I said that it was just an ICO. He didn't want to admit that that like essentially is like Bitcoin's is an ICO. And the utility is a game. Like, it's a token, and the token is that it offers you access into the Bitcoins game. But essentially, it's the same thing as an ICO. Like, it's just, it's offering a utility. It's a utility token. This is all these tokens do, essentially. It's like you pay the money initially, and they give it to you, and then you get to play the game. You get to have access to the server, and then over time, part of the game is that you get more Bitcoins. Or if you buy Bitcoins, your investment goes up no matter what. Or if you buy crops or whatever. Whatever, I don't know, but I basically was just saying that like it was an ICO, and that it's not. These aren't different. This is just a fucking scam, and he's saying it's for a game, but it's like, what's the difference? What's the difference between saying it's a game and it's not? And Dante did not like that I said that Bitcoins was an ICO. It seemed like he was taking it very personally, and this is where my problems with Dante lie into, because I was also at the time trying to build up a little bit of repertoire with Dan. Whatever the fuck his last name is now, I can't think of it. Droplister. Dan Droplister. But, and I was also going to, like, the counterparty meetups and stuff like that, too. I actually started working on a counterparty project. I started working on multiple counterparty projects, but I was working on something by myself. I was trying to actually get Dan's input, and he was just, like, not interested in even talking to me about it. And I don't know how much of this links in together, but like there was one point where Dan seemed to be kind of like softer towards me. Dan's doesn't really have a very inviting personality in general. At least that's what I've noticed, but I could be entirely wrong. But maybe just doesn't like what I say about him, and I think that's really what it comes down to. But I think a lot of it had to do with basically Dante expressing to Dan that I thought that his thing was an ICO bullshit scam. And oh, did I say this already or not? Okay, so Dante, when we were talking about this, was basically saying that the reason why I was saying this was because I was high on weed, which, sorry guys, but just so you know, most of the content I make may or may not be under the influence of a certain type of flower, of a certain type of bud. So, I mean, it wouldn't be that unordinary for me. However, when he was saying this, he was fucking fucked up out of his mind on back pills, which probably are some opiate of some sort. And, like, he was slurring his words and shit. I was like, yo, Dante, I can't deal with this shit. And he was like, yo, if you're going to be a little bitch, then something. He started calling me a bitch. I was like, yo, don't call me a bitch. I'm just not going to fucking talk to you. And then he kept calling me a bitch. I was like, and I just hung up. And I didn't have to deal with that. It wasn't like I wasn't going to like hold it over him or whatever. Like to me, it just seemed like Dante was fucked up on back pills. And he was yelling at me. He made a claim that I was saying crazy shit because fucking I was high on weed, which I am very sensitive to. Because honestly, man, like, I don't drink. I don't fucking do crazy drugs or anything like that. I do like a little weed. So fucking suck my dick, okay, Dante? And go fuck yourself, you idiot. You fucking junkie. Fuck you, okay? That's how I feel about it. So, if you're gonna make a comment about how I make my sound and how I speak, if I'm slurring my words, you might want to consider how you sound to other people. And if you're slurring your words and if you're under any influence yourself. But that's beyond anything at this point. I haven't really spoken to Dante since that one little encounter, so I'm only basically assuming all this. But like I said, I don't really care at this point. Since then, Dan's been kind of cold to me. Johnson's been kind of cold to me. John, also, there was something weird that happened. I had spoken to Dante in confidence about something that I had with John. And this is about some donation money, which there's a whole episode I talked about on. In fact, most of this stuff probably will be explained in other episodes I just probably won't be releasing. We'll see if this actually goes up on the internet, and then it should at this point because it doesn't matter. But I had spoken to Dante about doing bit by bit on fucking John's platform, not X videos, fucking Exotica. Which, by the way, I don't know if you've checked that out lately, but there are 0 people streaming on that shit. John always used to get mad at me, too, because, like, you know, I streamed on Twitch, I streamed on YouTube. It's something I'm still interested in doing in the future. You know what I mean? Like, I have a background. I'm not famous for it. I make 0 fucking money from it, but I do have a pretty strong background in, like, creating online content and, like, doing online live streaming and audio production, video production, stuff like that. Like, I do very much enjoy that type of stuff. And like I Exotica was like the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Like you can fucking do what they were like trying to like accomplish without like making it like a Bitcoin only like platform. And like I would say that to him. And like I don't mind promoting it, but like I wasn't trying to like go all in on like any content I was trying to do through his platform, especially because one, like he was doing porn and like we were making like sub-intellectual content that dealt with like video games and like Bitcoin. That was supposed to be like kind of like a insider view, like a niche insider view with some certain people. Like John had a lot of connections. I'm stupid as fuck, but like I said before, kind of funny and so somewhat amiable. And so like I'd be asking dumb questions and not like part of it is a act. It's not too much of an act because I am really that fucking dumb. Like I don't know too much about Bitcoin, but like I would be playing a little bit of a role to make it seem, to explain some larger things to the audience. I didn't know how the show was going to turn out. I'm not like I'm not like a director or a producer on a professional level, so I didn't know how all these characters and how this information was going to pan out to be. I was just trying things, you know what I mean? Trying to see what would be the best way to take a perspective. So there's some creative element to the actual content we're making. It wasn't 100% genuine, like, oh, this is just me hanging out with John on the internet. And like, it was supposed to be somewhat of us teaching people. But for that to occur, I had to strongly play the role. I don't fucking understand what's going on. Which, you know, that's not, like I said before, it's not really far from who I really am. But it's a little bit of a role. in any case, our show, he wanted to do it on Exotica exclusively or something like that. And we ended up getting some donations or something. And I forget. John had control a lot of the money, and I actually didn't mind that for a while. And I told him, I was like, yo, John, if you know something I don't, you know, go fuck around with the fucking donations. I don't give a shit. But he ended up wanting to take all the donations through his X-Video, or the Exotica. You can tell what websites I frequent. You can tell you wanted to take the donations exclusively through his Exotica platform at one point. And I was just like, yo, I'm not into that. Like we don't need Exotica to take Bitcoin donations. We can do all this with Twitch or YouTube. In fact, I already have it set up. I've had it set up for years with my Twitch account already. Like, I don't need to do that. And like, I understand you want to promote people to your shit, but like, these are two different things. And like, I'm like, if we're going to promote people over to Exotica, then I want to be a partner in that. You know what I mean? Like, you're asking me basically to do free work to promote Exotica, which I would be doing a lot of work for the show. Like that stream is not easy. Setting up a stream, coordinating all the people, like trying to actually game that mean fucking like John would actually play. Sitting through John complaining about not being able to figure out how to fucking turn a game on because he doesn't really understand much about computers apparently. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like there's a couple of those first episodes where he like didn't want us to record the first parts because it's just John freaking out because like he can't fucking figure out how to turn on the game. Oh, and that, to me, that was some of the best fucking parts of the show. But like, I think it's on my channel. I don't know if it's on his channel, but whatever. So where am I going with all this? Okay, so I had a conversation with Dante about this stuff, and then I get hit up from Dante, like, or from John. And it was in like confidentiality. Like, it wasn't like, okay, I want you to go talk to John about this now for me, please. Like, I had already spoken to John extensively about this, and like, he's just kind of being like negative to me. So I just didn't want to deal with it. I had spoken to Dante, and I was like, look, here's the deal. I'm just kind of curious what you think about it. And if I really need to, I'll just put all this out on the show because that's just how I deal with things. If I really have too much of a question about something, I'll just, like I said, I'll just talk shit about it. And if anybody has any content or any comments, they can just fucking hit me up. In fact, that's basically how the show started. One of my first episodes of Altcoins Anonymous is me just fucked up out of my mind, just like trying to go through a conversation between me and John. So like, none of this is alien, right? This is just this is like the medium. This is how I do the content. Like, if I have a question with something, or if I don't think something works, I'm just going to be like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, why do you think this makes sense? Very much akin to, like, and I'm not saying that it's very similar at all, but I'm saying, like, it is kind of similar to, like, how Joseph and Chris kind of took on, like, Bitcoin Uncensored. Like, it was just, like, they would play the game a little bit, but then after a point, it's like, yo, I can't really comprehend what you're trying to say because it doesn't logically make sense. And maybe, I don't know, I think that's what kind of got confused with people. I think some people think that, like, because I'm a little bit of a dunce with Bitcoin, that, like, I'm just, like, a little bit like a pushover or something. And I don't know if that's what Dante and if that's what fucking John were trying to, like, act like, but it's just, I couldn't deal with being spoken down to by people who were, like, clearly not following along. Like, you're not comprehending some major things here. But, okay, so this got a little bit more sporadic than I wanted it to be, a little bit more spaced out, but I guess I'm really going in for the jugular on some people here, so we'll just go for it. Not really, though. I'm not, like, once again, I don't really have any negative feelings toward these people. It's just like, I was trying to make content with all these people, and now there hasn't been content for a year, so I'm just going to release some content why that happened. And like I said, I've actually, there have been episodes I've recorded. It's just, there's not really a real reason to put this up until, like, right now, because basically it's all done. There's a couple people I might hit up after this too. If they're interested in maybe doing something together, or maybe they're scared to do anything with me. I wouldn't, I understand that too, but for the most part, like, I like doing Bitcoin content, and Bitcoin right now is in a good spot, in my opinion. It seems like it has no place to go but up, so it's a good time to get back into the swing of things. But I have no, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just making that up. But like I say, the trend right now seems to be, it's kind of dead. People are upset how low it is. It's like, Bitcoin's not fucking low. What are you, crazy? And now this is the first time I really understand what like John, Seth, and Chris would say. It's like, it only goes like only if it's somehow Bitcoin went negative, that's when it's low. Like, Bitcoin, as long as it's more than a cent, is always gonna be worth a lot of money, basically. Which is weird, but like, it's $6,000 and you're upset about Bitcoin being worth $6,000. It's fucking nothing. Like, literally, like, that's nothing. Oh, I'm eating a cookie. In 10 years from now, if Bitcoin's still $6,000, I'd be really surprised. But wow, Bitcoin's like 10 years old, right? 9 years, more than that, right? When's the 10-year anniversary of Bitcoin? Or did it pass already? That's crazy. Look that up. Anyway, it's coming up, right? I think it's coming up soon. Or it's like in a year from now, but it's soon. What was I saying? I don't remember. John wanted to take donations on his platform, but his Exotica takes 30% of whatever's donated on top of it, so we'd be splitting it 50, but really John and his company would be taking another cut. Or 50%. They take 50%. So he would be literally taking 75, I'd be taking 25, and I'd be doing all the work. So I was like, we can do this on YouTube, and we can take donations at a mutual address, and we can split it up. If you want, we can do the thing where we both have access to the account and no one can trade anything, But whenever I say things like that with him, he gets upset. Like, he doesn't like not... I don't know, like not being in control of things. Like, I'm a little bit of a control guy too, and I'm not gonna deny that. But like, I like to make it so it's a mutual understanding. But whenever I would try to make things like a mutual understanding with him, he'd just be getting frustrated, like I'm trying to like remove him, or if I'm trying to discredit him. It's like we'd get in stupid arguments, like bit by bit with John and Devin, or bit by bit with Devin and John. And like, I just thought that John and Devin sounded better, and I thought that it would make more sense because people know who John is. So I put his name first. Like, Devin I don't matter, so I go last. Also, it's a syllable thing. If you do one syllable, then you do two syllables. In show business, that's usually how it comes out, I think. Unless it's two syllables and two syllables, but I think it would be like... So, like, if my name had 3 syllables, it would be, like, after the name with 2 syllables. Whatever. I mentioned that to him. He was okay with it when I had redone all the artwork. He was like, you just redid all the artwork and all you did was change the names? I was like, yeah, that's all I said I was going to do. And then, like, he was, like, upset with me about doing that. You know what I mean? It's just, like... small things like that. It's like, we're not even doing anything productive. Like, literally, I literally just changed some of the artwork. I basically copied his font. I basically redid all of his artwork that he did in CorelDRAW and, like, Illustrator. And that was like, I'm being fucking rude or something. I don't know. And like, it's not like I'm asking for extra credit for the work or anything. It's just like, I'm going to just do this to switch it around. And then he's like, okay. And then once I did it, he's like, why would you do something like that? It's like, well, because I fucking talked to you about it. But anyway. And then when we were live, we had donation addresses set up, and then we weren't going to take donations through the website. And then he ended up just taking donations to the website, which a significant portion of whatever donations I got, I actually put back on Exotica, which, by the way, was a stupid idea because fucking there's nobody on there. And what the fuck am I going to do? Like, I can't go on there and be like, hey, why don't you show me your titties? Like, I actually have like a persona. The whole part of Exotica is it's supposed to be anonymous. I actually fucking put it on my account that I use the cam on. So it's like I can't really go on there and like do anything I want to do anyway. Oh god. Well, anyway, but honestly, that wasn't the reason why I got it. From what I understood at the time, Exotica was actually getting some other talent that wasn't going to be porn related, so I was going to go on and support other Bitcoiners. And then so I put like $130 on my Exotica account, thinking like, oh, I'll just tip people, and that way I'll start, promoting the content. Maybe we'll help the platform out a little bit. I don't mind helping the platform out a little bit. I just don't want to be ripped off 75-25. Fuckface. Oh god. And then here's the other thing though. I'm like, if you tell me up front, hey, look it, man, here's the deal. Your connections don't mean shit, Devin, and I'm going to be bringing on a lot of dudes on this show, and we're going to be actually generating a lot of donation money. I need to do this on Exotica, and this is how it's going to be. I'm going to be taking 75, you're going to be taking 25. I'd at least be able to think about it prior, but when we go, look at, we're not going to be taking donations on your platform, we're going to be doing like this. I have these accounts set up, and all of a sudden you're like, no, just do it through the website. You know what I mean? That's a different thing. And at the time, too, when we first did it, John, even on the stream, it's literally recorded on the internet. He goes, shit, if we do it like this, that means Exotica takes 50%. And then all our conversations after that, he's like very like, you know what, now that I think about it, maybe he said that to fucking prime me a bit, to make it seem like he was like, oh man, if they do this, then that means Exotica's gonna take 50%. Like, yeah, I know I'm taking 50%, you idiot. Like, you shouldn't let me take your 50%. That could have been it too, now I think about it. But it seemed like he was being a little bit more innocent about it at the time, but whatever. Anyway, so I had discussed this with Dante, and then all of a sudden, fucking John is like calling me an asshole. He said, we need to stop being faggots to each other. And I was like, yo, I haven't been a faggot to you. I don't really know what that means. Actually, I didn't say that at all. Nor do I use the F word. No, I didn't say that to him. I said, I actually didn't say it. I just said, okay. And that was the last time I had spoken to John, I think. Actually, I can go look at my Telegram account right now. But that was almost like... I'm going to look this up while I'm talking. But, okay, yeah, it's still going. Telegram. Let's just look. Mike in space is the best. Oh, okay, so no, it's not the last time I spoke to him. Because I had asked him for the donation money after this, and he was just like, okay. But, like, it was weird because I had asked him for it multiple times beforehand, and he was just, like, kind of spacing me out. But whatever. Whatever, this is not that important, but really, the last time I talked to him was in April. And, oh, here we go. Just covering all the angles. Not sure what else you think I should say. In summary, you are willing to manage logistics, and I appreciate that and defer to you. I prefer not to have a say than debate over that because I just want to be able to make interesting content without distractions or drama. Oh, this is December. So this is literally a year ago. Alright, this is not enjoyable for anybody. I should maybe post this if anybody's interested. I haven't read this in a while. Okay. Oh, here we go. I'll read this out loud. Okay. Well, this is pretty good. Hold on. All right, here we go. Oh, wow. So this is December with John. Oh, shit. This is such a long conversation. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to. Goddamn. All right, you know what? Here we go. This is going to be rude, man. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. I would like to block some of this out, but just... Or, like, blank out some of this audio so it's not in such a blank spot in the middle there, but... Okay, here we go. I like having chat in the stream, but ideally only one. So here's the deal. I used to multi-stream on YouTube, Twitch, and Exotica. And also Beam and other stuff too, just to get as much of a fucking audience as possible. Just stream it. If people are live, they might come across it. Just talk to as many people as possible. The stream I had on the chat aggregated all these different services together. So theoretically, if you're on your Xbox at your fucking mom's house and you wanted to watch a Bitcoin show, and someone else was watching on YouTube and they had a question, someone in the YouTube chat could ask the question, someone in the Beam chat could respond. It all showed up right in the stream. Everything was A-okay, right? I like having a chat in the stream, but ideally only one. That's what he said. And I said, it's only one, but an aggregate chat. And then he goes, I think if we streamed one, like YouTube or Exotica, people would move there. Right? So there we go. Now he's priming me. There's no point in limiting ourselves when I can do this easily. There's a point, actually. It's better to corral people than let them be all over the place. They switch if they want. That's what I said. It's better to make it appealing to choose one than get them all in one place. And I say, I don't agree. I don't think any streamer does that unless they have a contract with the service. Okay, and then this is interesting because then he gets a little weirded out by this. But seriously, though, this is true. So if you stream on Twitch or if you stream on YouTube or whatever, most of the streamers who aren't signed up with like a partnered account, they don't give a fuck. There's nothing legally making them so they have to only stream on one service. They make more money by putting themselves on different platforms because people will click their ad links. Okay, so it's called syndicated fucking content. So instead of having it on one network, it'd be on 5. And I understand, like, he wants everybody to get into one place, and I understand that too, but for what he wants to do it for is not what I was signing up for. Okay, and so it's better to make it appealing to choose one and get them all in one place. I go, I don't agree, and I don't think any streamer does. That is useless unless they have a contract with the service. It's good for the company that streams them. And then he goes, I happen to own a service. And I go, yeah, well, what are you asking me here? Don't blend the argument. And he goes, I'm not. I see this way on all angles. I think my company's side. I like corralling people onto one. Okay, I understand your perspective, but I don't agree with you at all. It doesn't seem to make any sense for me personally. So there we go. Like, why am I going to be streaming personally on your service exclusively? It doesn't really help me out. And here's the thing. I am friendly with John. But I'm friendly with John in the sense that he'll generally ask me to do free work for him, and I'll consider it. So, like, I don't know what he thought, but there's been multiple times, too. Like, prior to our whole streaming online together, John and I was going to do an ad for Exotica because he liked my Monero Apparel ad. And, like, I'm going to be doing more ads, too, for Monero Apparel and some other projects I have coming out soon, very soon. Very, very, I have a really good ad. I have a couple good ads coming out. Been working hard on what I'm coming out with. I just gotta actually come and record them, but I hope you guys like the content. Maybe I'll debut the ad on an episode of Altcoins Anonymous. But this is over, so I don't know if we'll be able to do it, but we'll see. Maybe I'll put 2 ads in, during the blank spots and actually like try to edit this episode up a bit. We'll see if I actually get the 2 commercials in there. God, that'd be so funny. All right, anyway, I just thought of that right now, and so now you're that's like pulling the curtain back a little bit, but whatever. You guys don't care. You guys have already turned the show off anyway, so. Okay, so you don't give me any particular cut with Exotica, and so I'm not partial to it. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, so then wait. So it doesn't make any sense for me personally. That's why I said to him, and he goes, and then considering my company, I'd want to make them use Exotica, but I'm not sure it's the right choice because a lot of people are bothered by the adult aspect. Now that is one very good point, but it's also not the good choice because their website isn't that great. But anyway, and they have no people actually on it in the first place. And we might have minors wanting to watch. Okay, no, I put on top of that. You don't give me any particular cut with Exotica, so I'm not partial to it. So he's talking about his company and it's something he wants to do. And it's like, it's not my company, so what the fuck do I care? You know what I mean? And he goes, we might have minors wanting to watch. And then he replies, you don't, onto my, you don't give me any particular cut with Exotica, he just replies ... Like, I'm fucking crazy for saying that. It's like, hey, what the fuck? You're an asshole, guy. Like, stop trying to get me to do free work for you. You own a company. How about the company pays me for work I'm doing for it? Like, don't say you own a company or you own a service, and then, like, the service doesn't actually have any money. Like, then it's not really a fucking service. You don't really own a company then. You own a fucking debt. The tips in Exotica go to BBB after the site tax, like every stream. Okay, here we go. This motherfucker doesn't understand how streaming works. I said I don't mind using it. So after the ... I go, I don't mind using it and attracting viewers to it, but it's not the ideal platform. We're playing video games and talking. The tips in he says, the tips in Exotica go to BBB. BBB for everybody is bit by bit after the site tax, like every stream. So on other Twitch streams or whatever, that's not 100% how it works out. In fact, generally, like, a lot of people use third-party services that will tax less than what Twitch or Beam or YouTube tax because they don't like the way that their services work and they don't have enough capabilities. And Twitch and YouTube and all these people, up until more recently, were, like, fine with that. But take in mind, this is also about a year ago. So, like, streaming today isn't what it was a year ago, and it wasn't what it was 2 years before that. And it won't be in a year from now what it is today. So it's a rapidly developing industry. Anyway, so, but in any case also, so when he says the tips in Exotica go to bit by bit after the site tax, so Twitch's site tax is not very high compared to what Exotica is. Like, there's this 50%. So if I give you 1 Bitcoin on Exotica, they take half a Bitcoin from me, and it's now theirs. And they're saying that the reason why they charge that is because there's no ads on their live streaming service. But they also don't have any advertisers that would want to advertise on their site anyway. So that's a weird way to phrase that. But anyway, we can... Okay, so like every stream. So that's not necessarily true what he said, because his tax is way fucking higher, and also in Bitcoin, and they also do ads. So it's like the reason why Twitch charges you money is because they play ads, and so they make money from the ad revenue, and then they pay you back as far as how much money they're making from their ad revenue. Whereas Twitch or Exotica isn't making money from the ad revenue. They're making money from you selling your pussy. And then they take 50% of your pussy hole. Okay. That's already been designed by multiple third-party companies. And I meant to say third-party companies. And he goes, then this is it. This is where he goes, do what you want. And then I go, I'd like for us to agree on this, but you're not asking me, you're telling me, and I'm really not down with that. If you really want to highlight Exotica, we should be doing some bonus Exotica. And this is where my fucking genius fucking mind comes in, because I watch fucking streams all the time, and this is how shit works. Okay? Like, if you watch the MMA Hour, and I actually wrote this right in the thing, so I'll just say it here. So, if you really want to highlight Exotica content, we should be doing some bonus Exotica material only on Exotica after the show. Look at the MMA Hour on YouTube. They do a bonus hour on Twitter. We should be really streaming on Twitter too. See? So I had 5 services up, and I was like, I'm thinking ahead. I'm like, look, we should be streaming on Twitter. We should be streaming on YouTube. We should be streaming all these things. Like, it should make it available to everybody anywhere. All it takes is a single processor, and I know how to do that. And in fact, ODB, the other person who works on the Exotica website, is the one who fucking helped me out with restreaming. So I'm not, and I even mentioned that later. It's like, look, I'm not trying to even take that away from, like, the other half of your company is the one who helped me out with, like, the other side of the coin here. But still, like, let's, not fucking take a blind eye to no one uses Exotica. Okay, so we should really be streaming on Twitter too. There's no reason the content shouldn't be available on multiple platforms. You have to incentivize the wider audience to come to the small platform. You can definitely use the larger platforms to pump your own shit. That's obvious. What I don't understand is why you want me to blindly support Exotica when I don't see any benefit from it particularly. And this is where I get into. This is like, he's asked me before to do ads, and then I, didn't want to do them because he wasn't trying to, like, give me any reciprocity. Specifically, he wanted me to do an ad for Exotica, and I was like, yo, I'll do an ad for Exotica, but here's the deal. You have to lower my tax on Exotica. So when I stream content on Exotica, instead of you taking 50%, you take 25, you take 15, or you take 0, preferably. Because I'll be doing free content for you, then you don't take a tax on my fucking content. Idiot. Anyway, so he was like, no. What, are you joking? And I'm like, fucking no. What, are you joking? And so that's how that basically, I never did an ad for him. He's like, where's my ad? I'm like, where's this money you never paid me? You want me to get this ad done for you? How about fucking pay me? Like, that was the conversation we had a long time ago. And it just kind of nothing ever happened. So, and I said, I'd like for us to agree on this. And he replied, I could say the same. In the end, I gave my perspective and you rejected it. When I said the thing about how I'd like for us to agree with this. But this is you asking me, not telling me. He says, I could say the same, but I gave you my perspective and you just rejected it. And I said, if you want to incentivize me, then you need to do that too. And he goes, I don't have the time to manage all the details, so I definitely don't want to argue. So it's your call. And so now all of a sudden he's like pulling out of the shit. And it's like, okay, all right. And he goes, if you make this about the money, then you'll just ruin the whole thing. And it's not. It's just I don't want to be doing free work for people. Like, if you want me to be part of Exotica, like, I'm part of Exotica, but then say I'm part of Exotica. If you want me not to be part of Exotica, then I'm not part of Exotica, and we can continue doing exactly what we're doing, which is nothing. Okay, so it's not an argument if we figure it out. I'm trying to steer you to the path, is what he said. I say it's not an argument if we figure it out. And he goes, I'm trying to steer you to the path of quality. John has really zero way with words. Like, he says some shit to me, I'm like, yo, I'm not some fucking hussy you're trying to fucking put your dick into, guy. Like, this is not how this works. Oh my god. But we keep coming to this and it doesn't upset me. I'm just being very clear with you. That's what I'm saying. I'm not getting upset. I'm just being very clear with you. I'm not going to be doing free work when I don't see any benefit from this. But I don't want to push, and I can't take the ownership, so it's your call. And so all of a sudden now he's way too busy to be doing anything with his Exotica platform. Like, apparently this, whatever. And I go, I don't understand what you just tried to say. He says, I'm saying I have too much going on to be the leader or fight about details when you already want to put the work in for logistics. And I said, but who's asking you to lead? Because I'm not fucking saying that. Like, no one ever is. I'm not asking him. And that you should be careful worrying about incentives and money. And I said, that's what your concern is. And he goes, nope. And I said, I'm worried about audience. And I said, Exotica has 14 total users, which is, at the time, probably was true. And really, right now, they have 0 users. I think you're barking up the wrong tree, he says. And I go, I don't mind supporting it, but call a spade, my dude. This is where when I start getting pissed off, my Bronx twang comes out. I barely even mention Exotica. Yeah, but if it's on the website, then whatever. And then he goes, don't paint me to be some sort of opportunist. He actually says opportunist, but it's funny, opportunist. Well, you keep telling me I'm barking up the wrong tree. You're being partial. And he goes, I like making the content, and if I can help my biz at the same time, great. And that's fine. But that's the definition of an opportunist. Okay, and he goes, but you get to plug your t-shirts, which your t-shirt plugs, or he says, but you get your t-shirt plugs, which is not the reason why I made these shows, right? Like, I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. It's true, I do have a separate thing, but I'm not saying everybody has to watch the show through moneroapparel.com/live. I'm saying, like, there's also, like, a t-shirt that has, like, Zuko's face and says Zuko is my homegirl. Like, I'll be mentioning things like that. Like, it's not like, most of the time I wouldn't even be pumping my own stuff because I'm very self-conscious about it, because I also don't take it that seriously, which there, like I said, there will be some updates on all that stuff coming soon, hopefully. Well, not hopefully, there are. But anyway, but I'm not gonna say I don't understand what he's saying, but, like, I don't really think, like, I make maybe like $30 a month from Monero Apparel, so guys, calm down. If that, by the way, so please relax. But you get your t-shirt plugs and probably get more out of this than me. And I say, it's not about that. And he goes, and if you start focusing on bullshit like that, you'll fuck this up. It's like, yo, this has been my main concern since the beginning. It's not something I'm just focusing on right now. And he goes, I'd like to discuss these decisions, in quotation mark, you make about the production of the show. And I go, whoa, dude, because I guess I was reading things out of the timeline here. And he goes, I never make any decisions. And I say, you need to calm it down. Oh, because I'm talking about, and if you start focusing on the bullshit like that, you'll fuck this up. And I say, whoa, dude, you need to calm it down. And he goes, you say you want to do something, I make a suggestion, you say no, and we move on. And I go, what are you talking about? First of all, you were the person to make a stink about taking, and this is where I make a point. So you were the first person to make a stink about us taking donations on Exotica. It was live on air. This is true. And I was like, it's fine, support the platform. So what the fuck are you talking about, buddy? And this is 100% true. Like, at the time, when it happened live, I was like, it's fine, support the platform, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I want to talk about it. So, like, obviously, it's not something that, like, I didn't fucking, like, create a big problem and get, like, fucking start yelling at people on air, which is something he's done before. Anyway, John's got a little problem, but whatever. Make the show with me, and then he goes, make the show with me, let me only care about the content. The rest, do what you want. And I say, you need to think this out. And he goes, you have the wrong idea about my intentions. And I think at this point, I'm starting to get the idea he might be a little bit drunk. And I've had other experiences with John, too, that, like, it's hypocritical for me to give people shit, because, like I said before, I smoke weed, so fuck it, you know what I mean? I sometimes have speech issues, and I say crazy things. Sometimes there's long fucking drops in my train of thought, because I can't remember fucking names. You know, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has their thing that they do, and that's how they get down. So I'm not trying to give fucking John shit for being drunk while he's talking to me in the middle about some shit he doesn't really want to be talking to me, or trying to give Dante shit about fucking back pills or whatever the fuck he was on when he was slurring his words, arguing with me. But I'm just saying, I don't make it a point to go and try to, like, harp on people for that. Because, like I said, everybody does their own thing. So, you know what I mean? Like, who am I to judge anybody? I don't know what goes on in your head. I don't know who the fuck you are. Everybody got their own little, how they act. So, that is how they are. But anyway, so I'm starting to get the idea that he might be a little bit drunk at this point, I think. Because I'm starting to read it right now. I'm thinking, like, hey, maybe that's what was going on. If that's the case, let's talk later. Okay. Oh, actually, I say it right here. Okay. So what are you talking about, buddy? Make the show with me. Let me only care about the content. The rest do what you want. You need to think this out. You have the wrong ideas about my intentions. I'm being very clear with you right now. You sound like you're drunk. And I say it right to him. And I say if that's the case, let's talk later. And he goes, I'm not. I'm nipping something in the bud because I've done this before. And I say, stop being cryptic. And he goes, I know how it goes. Just say what you're trying to say. I can't read through this shit. I'm saying you're losing focus and concerning yourself with stuff that doesn't matter. I say more specific. Worrying about what each of us gets out of this. The money, being on every side possible with maximum support. All distractions. And I said, don't be worried about my creativity. Monero Apparel is separate entities. Don't bring it up. If anything, I'll bring up Altcoins Anonymous because that's content. And it's true. I would only bring up Altcoins Anonymous. I wouldn't even really bring up Monero Apparel. If he would talk about a show, I'd just kind of like, or a shirt, it'd be whatever. But like, he'd be trying to like throw me bones, and like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not trying to, like, I don't care. It's a fucking fun little thing. I put my fucking stupid shirts up on the website. If you think it's cool, like, you can buy them. If you don't, like, it does not fucking matter to me at all. Okay, it's not a service, and I'm not in charge of it. Although I do put that on my LinkedIn. I am the CEO of Monero Apparel on LinkedIn, so whatever. God. Okay, yeah, but that's not my intention. It's not a circle jerk. I don't know why I just said that, but that's funny. Okay, no, I just said that because like it's not a circle jerk. It's not like, hey, you get to talk about Exotica and I get to talk about Monero Apparel. It's like, that's not my point in producing this content. Like, Altcoins Anonymous, all this shit isn't just for me to promote my stuff. I'm not thinking about the $N sign, the bottom line. And he goes, I said it's appropriate. And I say, well, that's what you think, but I'm using it I'm not using it as a barter. It so happens to be something that I do. Honestly, I only made it public after you mentioned it on the show. I think at the time too, most of the times I don't really associate all the different personalities with each other. Like, I just came on this show right now and said that my name's Devin J. Dawson. Like, I mean, most people probably know that, but like, my Twitter account doesn't have my name. Like, my streaming account isn't related to me. Monero Apparel doesn't really have like a fucking face. Like I said, unless you go on LinkedIn and can see that, and it has one follower, which is me. So no, you can't. It's not, I don't really link, I try to keep the identities a little bit separate. It's not like some big anonymity thing. It's just like, I don't know how this is going to reflect on me to some corporation in the end run. So I just try to keep it separate so I don't get in trouble for something I shouldn't. If I am trying to get a job eventually ever, which that's a whole nother fucking podcast. Oh God. Okay. I just want to make content for Bitcoin. That's what he says. I said, most people on the show, most people even know a me person. It's me. Most people, this is what I wrote. I can't even fucking understand what I'm trying to say. Most people even know it's a me person. It so happens to be something that I do. Honestly, I only made it public after you mentioned it on the show. I just want to make content for Bitcoin. Most people even know it's a me person. I don't know what I was trying to say there. And he goes, the rest is incidental. I say, okay then. So then why are you getting upset when I suggest we should take donations through Bitcoin and not through a third party that interacts with all of your platforms? Oh shit, and that's a good point. I said, so why are you getting upset when I suggest we should take donations through through Bitcoin and not a third party that interacts with all of your platforms, not just Exotica? Because I never said to only take donations at Exotica. So then why are you getting upset? I never said we can't take them there, but why are you nipping on the bud? I'm struggling to get this. Because you started saying otherwise and mentioning incentives, etc. If I'm incentivizing your platform, I'm incentivize your platform with larger platforms so we can do special content. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm trying to say, like, we'll do like an after hour on like whatever, so we can corral people from other mediums onto his shit, which is like, that's such a good idea. I don't know why he didn't want to do that. Like, every fucking show in the world is on YouTube. Okay, when you watch the pay-per-view for fucking Conor McGregor versus Khabib, they have 6 hours of MMA beforehand on free television. Okay, so when you want to get everybody over to the small little platform that no one wants to go over, that has a paywall or whatever the fuck, it's just exclusive content or whatever, you put it on the free shit first that everybody has access to. It's just a fucking common sense thing, okay? Sorry, but that's it. Okay, I'm incentivizing your platform with larger platforms so we can do special content, which is all I care about. I've also mentioned we can break the rules on Exotica that we can't on a ton of other platforms. I'm being very clear and very opportunistic for Exotica. I'm just making clear that if you want to start splitting hairs, it will turn me off. And I go, not just you. You get upset and you try to tell me off. And I'm telling you, if you keep that shit up, I don't give a fuck. So now I'm clearly pissed off. Like, this motherfucker's not listening to me. And now I'm fucking spelling it out. Literally, when there's much more spacing between when I can see the space in between letters, that's not good. That means I'm angry. Because I type too much. I basically, when the ratio of space to letters is high, that means whatever. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. It wasn't funny. It didn't come out good. I just don't think you should ask me what I think if you never intend to take my advice. So now John's getting upset, saying I shouldn't ask him things if I don't intend to just do what he says. And I go, you don't ask me ever, you just tell me. And he goes, I'm okay with you controlling the logistics. And he goes, not really. I just get online and talk. I'm just having a little bit of a format, and you just say no. I don't know what that is, but you suggest having a format. Oh, I suggest having a little bit of a format, and you just say no. So John wanted to have like segments and shit, and I was like, fine, but like, you can set like, what are the segments you want to do? Like, he just wanted me to set up like basically what fucking Sean does for John Seth, which, you know, Sean doesn't really get credit, but like Sean writes the format of the show, which is why, once again, I was interested in the fucking show notes, and like that became a whole issue. It was like, because like Sean does an incredible amount of work for fucking John Seth's world, and John Seth just fucking talks the whole time. And then Sean chimes in, but it's like not like, it's not like it's just like the same opinion. It's like basically watching CNN for Bitcoin right now. Oh, God. Oh shit, I just scrolled down too much. Anyway, so he's just having a format, and then I have to come up with it. Why don't you suggest a format instead of just having one? I suggest defragmenting the audience. Okay, so now instead of a format, because we were talking about segments, so he was talking about format of the show, and now he's going back into he just kind of like parlayed that into something else. So I suggest defragmenting the audience and incentivization them to do so, and you say no. So like, that's not what we were just talking about. Like, he was talking about the format of the show, like what segments come after whatever, like what pre-thought out material are we going to talk about. And now he's going back right into the donations thing and like putting everybody on Exotica only. And I said, now you're changing your argument. I don't suggest one. And then why would I come up with one after being told no? And I don't know what we're talking about now. Oh, a format. Why would I come up with a format after being told no? I said if you, in capitals, YOU, want one, suggest it. I don't care. And he goes, LOL, that's new. And I just said, I don't know. I don't want one. And he goes, I know. And I go, but I don't care if you come up with one and it's good. And he goes, so I won't make one. It's like, he obviously just wants me to do it. And John, I don't know, man. Like, I thought John was like kind of cool, but John just really makes people do work for him. That's all I've ever experienced with him. He's just trying to like con you into doing work for him for free. So sorry, John, but you know, whatever, guy. I go, are you serious? He goes, whatever then. He goes, I see it like this. And I say, that's up to you. I want the least friction. So if you say no, it's okay. I say, well, sorry, you're not more imaginative. I'm sorry, but at this point I'm getting a little bit pissed off. It's like, you clearly just don't want to do the work and you just want me to do it. And that's my whole point. It's like, look, you don't want me to do work for you, you got to incentivize it. If you don't want me to do work, there's nothing to incentivize. You're changing your argument for looking for a place for me to be wrong on. This started out because of Exotica. That's what I said to him. It started because you want to support every chat. Which is, once again, it's not I wanted to support. We were already doing it. It took me 3 seconds. I already do it for Twitch. I did it on my own Twitch stream. It took me 3 seconds to do. Made it so everybody can talk to each other. It's not a big deal whatsoever. So that was done. I had never had complained about it once. I had mentioned it multiple times. I had talked to him. I had talked to ODB about setting it up so we could even set it up with getting the WebSockets from Exotica chat directly streamed into the Restream chat, because I had to have 2 separate chats going, the Restream chat and the Exotica chat. So I had 2 separate displays on the stream, overlays on the stream. So one would be everybody's chat, and then one would be just the Exotica chat. So I was exclusive stuff I would just do for Exotica only. So that was the hard part, was actually trying to incorporate the Exotica chat. Okay, so doing everybody else was the easy shit. Incorporating the Exotica chat was the hard part. And I had spoken to ODB about development on the back end stuff John doesn't even fucking understand or know about the WebSockets and getting or WebSockets or WebSocks, I don't know, one or the other. That's how they did the chat. So, and it's like it was like a new thing coming out that all the other chat streaming services were using, and that's how Restream worked. And so they were going to switch over to that at some point. And I was like, well, when you do this, it should work with this application that I already use. It's called Restream. Anyway, so whatever. John's making an issue out of something that wasn't there, and then claiming it that like it wasn't Exotica that was the hard part, but that was the hard part. So anyway, just to make this clear, so he's talking about what's going to be easier or difficult, and I'm already have made it easier by incorporating the most difficult part, which is the Exotica platform, into all the chat. And now what he wants me to do is get rid of all the easy shit and just make it so it's only Exotica chat in there. Okay, so that was the easy route that John suggested. And I said, this started because of Exotica. It started because you wanted to support every chat. And I said, it's already a service I use. I think it's the wrong choice. And he goes, I think it's the wrong choice. And I said, being available on multiple platforms is bad. If that's your opinion, I can offer you stats and also evidence that proves that wrong. And it's like, when you have a podcast, okay, it's not just on YouTube. It's on iTunes. It's on Stitcher. It's on YouTube. It's on fucking SoundCloud, okay? And all those different mediums get looked at. Okay, so I think at first it's okay, but better to be a cohesive audience together. It's like, John, you're just not fucking getting this guy. Well, we're not at that first part. That's what I said, because people are going to find us via talking about us and referring people to us. Yeah, okay, good job, fucking viral wizard John over here. So how the fuck am I supposed to communicate with people who I'm streaming to? And he goes, he's continuing his ass thing. He's like, people are not going to find the channel by not stumbling into channels, is what he says. And I go, that's not true. And he goes, if they do stumble, the streaming support is plenty. And if we give them reasons to come to chat, where more people are, and I think he's just kind of saying random shit at this point. I say, I have a lot of experience live streaming. I can guarantee you that's not true. It really isn't true. There's a lot of people that come and just stumble randomly. I would get people from Microsoft. I would get people from Twitch. I would get people from YouTube. And then they would start talking to each other all the time. It's just how that worked. There's so many fucking people who watch live streams, dude. It's not just, some people are looking for content, some people are looking to troll you, some people are just looking for some shit to get exposed to that they have never been exposed to before. Some people see Bitcoin, they go, look, you know what? I don't want to fucking watch Overwatch videos all fucking day long. I'm 14 years old and I want to learn about money, so I'll put on Bitcoin. So fucking that's what happens. Okay? That's, we're trying to just fucking grow an audience here, but whatever. So you're just upset because I want to use Restream? And he goes, I'm not upset. I just don't want to argue. I just don't understand what you're upset about, is what I say. Oh, or be asked for my opinion if it isn't wanted. And honestly, I don't think I did. I don't think I asked him for his opinion, because I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And this is where my Bronx comes out. He says, you're definitely upset. You're trying to sun me in the chat. I forget where that came from, but don't try to sun dudes, all right? Don't talk down to dudes. And any aspect of me seeming upset is more related to you questioning my motives or mentioning incentives between us. Okay, so really, John is the snake in the grass right now. It's kind of pissing me off. I'm going out of my way to try to understand. Please grant me that. I've been explaining myself for 15 minutes. Well, notice how it's not consistent. That's what I say. And he goes, just covering all the angles, not sure what else you think I should say. In summary, you're willing to manage logistics, and I appreciate that and defer that to you. I prefer not to have... I think logistics is just a new word he learned today, because I don't understand why he keeps saying it like that over and over and over again. Well, clearly I'm being the producer, but whatever. Okay, I prefer not to have a say than debate over that, because I just want to be able to make interesting content without distractions or drama. Okay? And I think I would start putting it clear right now. I'm not going to incentivize people to donate through Exotica unless for some reason that was the only the only thing the content was exclusive to. I don't mind syndicating bit by bit on any channel you want. I also don't mind doing a format if you have one. There is no drama. This is all very black and white for me. I'm planning also to release it on iTunes, Google Play. I don't get what the issue of platform is. I agree that it's good. See, and that's the other thing. Look, so like we're doing a live show, and I'm actually going to take all the live content, boil it down. This is work he's not asking me to do, but I'm willing to do this. It's not very difficult for me. I'm going to boil it down, put it on YouTube, Twitch, SoundCloud, whatever. Or iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, all make it into an actual podcast so people can just listen to it. I agree that it's good to funnel traffic to one platform, but we're trying to grow an audience. Also, people usually will multi-stream until they have a contract with the streaming service. This is a fact. No one sits on YouTube or Twitch only unless they have a exclusive relationship with that content provider. And generally, that exclusive relationship is only a 24-hour window. It's for live streaming content. Because you're allowed to put up your fucking videos wherever the fuck you want. So for live content, there's a 24-hour clause generally in most streamers' contracts that say you can't reproduce this content or anything similar to it for a 24-hour window. And that's because those streaming services have an exclusive contract with your creative content. That's what makes them get ad revenue. And they pay people for that, John. And I agree it's to funnel traffic to one platform, but we're also trying to grow an audience. Also, people usually will multi-stream until they have a contract with the streaming service. That's not the streamer or the show's. That's not at the streamer or the show's benefit. That's the company that gets the benefit. I get it's your company, but you aren't discussing this contract you essentially want me to commit to, and I don't find that cool. And he goes, I literally said do what you want. Where did all this contract and Exotica talk come in? Motherfucker's not paying attention. Well, did you mean you want people to only go to YouTube? I don't see how you're in the wrong tree of YouTube. See, there you go. So where did I kind of flipped on there. He's like, where does this all talk about contract and Exotica come in? I said, well, you're not trying to get people to fucking put us on YouTube, right? Like, you want us to be on Exotica. Oh, shit. I mean, it is practical and useful to get the community into fewer places. Please cite one example of this. And he goes, Telegram. Because clearly Telegram is a podcast. And I go, try every television show. Pay-per-view isn't just only on POV. It's on BBC, Indie Service. You asked me the question. It's a global syndication. Don't answer it yourself. I don't think you answered anything. You said Telegram. People only use Telegram or Twitter, Facebook, Discord. That wasn't a good example if it's what you mean. I bummed a cigarette from the CEO of Spells Genesis. Oh, okay. Okay. That was it. That was the end of that conversation. And so that's okay, and we're gonna get into that. So I did bum a cigarette from the CEO of Spells Genesis, but that's a totally separate that's a separate talk. Anyway, so that was December 27th, 2017. And that's it. That was our big argument. And then since then I've asked him a couple times when we were gonna like put the show, when we were gonna do stuff, and like the last real thing he's ever said to me was like, we just need to stop being faggots to each other. And to be honest, like, I don't really feel like I've ever been negative to him. In fact, like, I feel like I've always gone above and beyond to get content for him. And to be honest, I feel like he's really sensitive and kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. So, you know, that's that. So that's basically what happened. But anyway, so I had discussed that little conversation with Dante. And I have reason to believe that basically Dante went and spoke with John. But I had spoken to Dante in confidence. And the only reason I have reason to think that he went and spoke with John is because John started acting like, basically when he said we need to stop being fags with each other, I feel like I had spoken to Dante about it, and basically Dante went and snitched on me, which is fine. But I lost a lot of loyalty with Dante. The only reason why I say I think he did that, and I feel kind of bad about this, but it's because I feel like he basically did the same thing with Dan. Because I said Dan's thing was basically an ICO, and Dan took that very personally. But, we're going to go one level deeper with Dan right now. We're not done yet, guys. So anyway, so this is me burning all my bridges. This is how I pour gasoline on every single piece of wood in the vicinity. So Dan, we've had multiple disagreements on things, but I think the most recent disagreement I've had with Dan, and where I stopped really supporting Counterparty, which is kind of fucked up because now I have a bunch, Dan tried to pump really bad, and I don't know if Chris DeRose and all these people were right or wrong. It seemed like there was some friction in the Counterparty development circles. I don't really know how the whole structure of the hierarchy really exists, or even if the project is still active at this point. But Dan isn't a major developer on Counterparty. I think now he might be the head developer, but I also don't think he understands how to code. I think it's written in Python, right? I don't think he's like that great at Python. I could be wrong. I might be 100% wrong about that. If that's the case, then I apologize, Dan. That's not really not what I'm trying to get at. I'm not trying to discredit your Python skills. But like, there definitely needs to be some active development on it. I've had issues with it. Like, it doesn't run properly. Like, Counterparty itself runs on the no index fork of Bitcoin, which, I mean, it's just the Bitcoin client, but they actually have another feature where it's essentially there's extra data put on the transaction hash, whatever, and that extra data you can manipulate to represent a counterparty transaction, but you need to have a certain Bitcoin client that actually reads that data. It doesn't actually change any of the transactions on the current blockchain, but you just need to make sure that the client you're using has the shit turned on. So basically, that Bitcoin client, isn't actively maintained at all. So the most recent version that works with Counterparty is like 13 something, and the most recent version of Bitcoin right now is like 16 or 17. So it's like we're really getting out of the realm of like using up-to-date technology, and Counterparty itself, like the Counterparty client is also another layer on top of that. So you need to download the Bitcoin client that works with the Counterparty client. So the Bitcoin client that works with the Counterparty client isn't really kept up to date, and the Counterparty client itself isn't kept up to date really at all. And I think part of that right now has to do with Dan and this stupid thing he did trying to fucking pump it, where he wanted to get 3-letter assets to become a thing on the Counterparty exchanges, and this caused a lot of issues with everybody. Look, Dan's smart, and I'm not trying to discredit him, but like, he really stooped very low as far as like what he was trying to, and I kind of understand it. Like, he just saw what everybody else was doing. He's like, look, I can do this, and there's nothing wrong with me doing that, and that's fine. But like Bitcoins itself, like the idea of a game in quotation marks, like that, to me, really, it wasn't ever really a game. Essentially, like, it was just a way for him to make money, and that's fine. Like, he was creating that. He wasn't really interested in the game as much as creating a game that would, like, any game would work as long as he was making money on Bitcoins, right? And I don't know if that's really wrong. I'm not saying that's wrong necessarily, but like, Bitcoins itself isn't really a magical, like, there's nothing cool about Bitcoins. It's just the fact that, like, if you own them and if we talk about them and promote them more to other people and pretend like they're a real thing that need to be cared about, they might go up in value because it's a rare asset. Like, by definition, the way that the game is designed, it becomes rarefied. Like, there's only going to be a certain amount of Bitcoins ever. So if we're all really enjoying Bitcoins, you better get on that Bitcoin train because there's only a little bit of them left. That's fine. I'm not really against that, to be honest. But I do think that's like very similar to like an ICO. Like, you need to get in on the train now, because if you don't get in now, like, you're not gonna be able to play later. Like, whatever he's not actually offering a service, but like, it's more a form of intrinsic like feeling. Like this game makes you feel good, and the only way to feel better at the game and get good at the game is to own more of them early on. So it's not really like a Ponzi, but it is a Ponzi. Like, to me, it's not really any different from any of these ICOs or anything like that. Like, he's basically just did an ICO and called it a game. That's fine. Whatever. That was the debate I got with Dante. I think Dante went and ran to Dan, started complaining, and said that, like, I'm calling shit an ICO. And I think Dan took it very personally and was like, yo, this guy's trying to discredit me. And I don't think Dan... I have a couple of live shows that have maybe 20 listeners in total, but I don't think Dan wanted me going out and saying, look at, like, this motherfucker's running an ICO. Especially because in New York City, you can't do that. And he's just going all willy-nilly, like, doing that. And it's like, whatever. do whatever the fuck you want. But it's, I mean, a game or whatever. It's not like he controls the game. You know what I mean? It's not like, I don't know. But he's talking, I mean, I'm sure he's been in touch with Cybert and made sure that he's dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's. So there's nothing really to like really worry about until there's something to worry about. But I just don't feel like Bitcoins itself is really anything to be that like impressed with. Besides the fact that it's just like kind of fun to be a part of the crew and kind of pump it, and which like I'm guilty of being a part of. Like I was part of the Bitcoins crew up until I said the thing about it being an ICO, and then I think Dante went and complained to Dan. I got kicked out of like development chats for Bitcoins. Like I was part of like the back end part of the chats, and then like all of a sudden my invitations were revoked. So that's one thing. And then like I think Dan again kind of loosened up to me. I think like he kind of, I don't know. He just realized that like me and Dante maybe been having like a little bit of a weirdness. But Dan was trying to make it like streamline the whole like 3-letter assets on Counterparty. And really the only reason to do that is just to pump the price of Counterparty. Like he was just trying to create a reason that Counterparty people would invest in. Like he was just trying to phrase that as like interesting as possible to not make it seem like he was just trying to like get people to invest in it. But like really that's it. And like I get it. Like everybody's trying to use the terminology of the times in order to make money. But really you're like, that's like I kind of lost a little bit of respect for him, because like it doesn't seem like he understood a lot about how Counterparty, like he understands how Counterparty works, but he doesn't understand the development process. And he was asking the developers to do something to line his pockets essentially. And it would line everybody's pockets in Counterparty, which is what his kind of argument was. But like, it wasn't an argument like that. He was just basically saying like, this would increase investment in Counterparty and increase people like wanting to get involved with it by making 3-letter assets available. But really what he's saying is like, look it, people are going to hear this shit and start fucking buying it because they're too stupid to understand that this doesn't fucking mean anything. They're going to think that this means something and buy it all of a sudden, then he can sell. So like, that's really what that meant. To me, at least. I mean, I'm not gonna say that he said that to me, because he didn't say that to me. But I mean, if you're fucking like not an idiot and you've been in Bitcoin for more than 3 years or even more than 3 days, you realize that it's just a bunch of fucking scam artists. And if you don't get scammed, you end up becoming the scammer, essentially. Like, it really, oh man, I feel like that's really, you know what, I just came onto something. If you don't get scammed in Bitcoin, you eventually become a scammer, because you eventually will promote it to somebody else. I think maybe that's where Junseth was right in the beginning, because like they never really told anybody to buy. I guess he always told people to buy Bitcoin, right? Yeah, not really. I don't know if they ever told people to buy Bitcoin. I feel like later on they told people to buy Bitcoin in Junseth's world, because it was like, look, if you don't, like, now all these are real. Bitcoin's better than, if you're going to buy this stupid bullshit, buy Bitcoin, not Ethereum. Or buy Bitcoin, not Monero. Or buy Bitcoin, not Litecoin. But I don't, in the beginning, before everything pumped, before all the shitcoins, the age of the shitcoin, I don't think he was really promoting Bitcoin as much. So I think that kind of changed. Everybody kind of like changed their like, they feel like they're not promoting the Ponzi a bit, but really, like, let's not forget, guys, like, this is all bullshit still. Like, this is all like, Bitcoin's $6,000 right now. Like, we should all be like, what the fuck? It's not 2 cents right now? How is it not 2 cents? How is Bitcoin not 0? Okay, let's wipe our tears. Let's just dry our eyes a little bit, everybody. So wait, how is this still not 0? Because what the fuck is going on? This is like the most legal and the most widespread. Like, we're all part of this thing. Like right now, even me saying, look at, you guys are a bunch of scam artists. I'm also the scam artist, because like I'm still like validating like Bitcoin. That's all it is. If you validate Bitcoin, you're now a scam artist. Good for you, guys. Look what you did. Look what you did, CNN. Look what you did, MSNBC. Good for everybody's like, we're all in on it. Good for us. That's so funny. We convinced the government. We convinced the United States government that this was a real thing. And they were like, oh, god damn. I guess it's a real thing then. And so now it is. That's funny. I mean, it's much more complicated than that, but it also isn't. So it is funny. It is very funny. Anyway, so Dan wanted to pump 3-letter assets, and you know what, I feel kind of bad because at this point, like, I was getting a little bit fed up with everybody, and I've always just been trying to make friends with the Bitcoin community. Not like I'm not trying to like make money or take advantage of people. Like, I really just wanted to have friends in Bitcoin. I don't have like friends that I enjoy talking to about anything with, really. Like, I enjoy talking about Bitcoin, so I want to just be able to like bullshit about Bitcoin, and I don't mind being the fucking idiot on the table. Like, I enjoy learning about it. I just want to be exposed to those groups of people. But like, trying to get exposed to those groups of people, you realize how fucking like fickle everybody is, because they're worried about how they're going to be seen, because they are all fucking essentially scam artists. You know, it's like people are trying to like forget the fact that they're just like promoting fucking Pokemon cards. Like, come on, guys. And I'm guilty of this myself. Like I said, I was working on a counterparty. I mean, technically still, I'm working on a counterparty project. I don't think anything's gonna come of it, but it's just, you know, it was something fun. It's just something fun to do, and it's not something that you have to buy into or anything like that. It was just something that like I thought the community would enjoy, and something I still think the community would enjoy, and I think that it's something the community's been missing, really. But when I go to like other people in the community, I'm like, hey, you guys want to work on something? It's like, no, not really, because like you're gonna be like somehow a liability or something. Like, it's not a friendly community. It's much more of a business, and I guess I understand that too. Maybe I'm just too far behind or not too far ahead. I don't know. I'm just not in the right time, right area, right place at the right time, whatever. I don't know. Or maybe it's just my personality. I'm not exactly sure. But from what I understand, this isn't like, I guess like Bitcoin doesn't care about your mother. It's not like a friendly place. There's no morality. It's like you kind of just need to realize the rules, and you play the game, and you shut the fuck up about how much Bitcoin you have, and you get people to do work for you for free, and you get people to pay you on your Bitcoin account, and you don't talk about that you own it, and that's it. This is the legal money game, and no one is really a friend. Like, it's not, no one's trying to be a friend. We're all just trying to scam you, and we're trying to convince you that our service is something practical and something that you have to consider in your day-to-day life. And the only reason why I'm making you do that is because I bought a bunch of this shit 10 years ago. And I want to make sure it keeps going up in value. Fuck. So that was my main error was that I just didn't buy enough Bitcoin before I started making the content. Because right now I'm part of this whole thing, right? Like, or at least I'm kind of trying to be, but like really this is kind of like the last episode. We'll see. I'm gonna reach out to some dudes. And just see if there's anything else we can maybe, like, I just want to have fun. Just like I still want to learn stuff, and I just want to have fun, and that's it. Just bullshit with dudes about Bitcoin, talk shit about people that need to be talked shit about, feel stupid when I need to feel stupid because I don't understand what's going on, and like proof of work. I was trying to say this before. I don't know if I even finished that thought before. I don't think I did. But like in the beginning, I thought proof of work was like graphics cards, baby. And I think that there's still an argument that graphics cards are interesting, and forking I think Monero is an interesting project. I think the way that Monero is being conducted itself is more interesting than Bitcoin currently, because it does everything wrong on purpose, because we see how if you do everything right, it doesn't really work out how we planned it. So it's a little bit more controlled. It's not centralized per se, but like development's kind of centralized to some degree. Like, you have to fork every 6 months, and like you need to like there's not going to be an ASIC. If you guys try to make an ASIC, we're going to fork again. We want to make it so there's no one company that just owns all the mining, even though, like, if there is one company that owns all the mining, they just can't sell a product that says that they do, because that way, as long as nobody knows about it, we don't know about it. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting how that would work theoretically, but like technically, if you were able to produce an ASIC that was profitable for 6 months, and then we're able to produce another one for 6 months, I mean, Monero really wouldn't have too much of an issue with that. It's just the fact that, you know what I mean, like, as long as you're not selling it to other people, and you aren't telling anybody that they can buy them from you or that you even have it. No one will know that you have an ASIC that does that does 20 or 100 times the processing power of a GPU. So just shut up and don't tell anybody, and then it's okay. And then just in 6 months when they fork anyway, if there's a change in the algorithm, just make sure that, another shitcoin will use your thing, or create your own shitcoin that uses that algorithm. There you go. Damn, Devin. Gotta figure that shit out. What the fuck's taking you so long? Oh God, what are we talking about? But yeah, so I've learned over time that I think probably the best idea, and this is something that I would be getting shit. I like Monero, and I think Monero is probably the most interesting project. But I do understand the idea that your ASIC is something that you need. It's something that when you hear ASIC, it's not a bad word. ASICs exist all over the place. It's a very specialized chip to do a very specialized calculation, and that's what Monero would technically be by definition. So theoretically, what you would want to do is to harden your service. By definition, harden your service as hard as possible. You'd want the easiest algorithm to compute, easiest and most secure algorithm to compute with the least amount of power, so you can keep computing it as much as possible to make it as secure as possible. Its security is based on how much power it takes up, but you want it to take up power efficiently. So I understand it now, but that took me fucking 5 years to understand. It's not, my whole argument wasn't that I don't think that makes sense. Is that, I don't like the fact that Bitmain owns all the Bitcoin miners, but finally we're starting to see that other companies are interested in changing the way that Bitcoin is going to be calculated, technically. And we want that. So maybe that's really I don't know. Maybe that's what we need. I don't know. But I think that it's interesting that Monero refuses to adhere to that, but it's still not impossible to counterbalance, because anybody can start creating their own ASICs at any time, just not sell them. I mean, technically that's what an FPGA is. It's just a really, really roundabout way of making your own ASIC, but that's what technically people are going to be doing. Ow. But yeah, that took me forever to figure out, and that's only because I've been talking to people forever. And it's pretty really, it's just basic information from the beginning that I should have just understood. And I don't know, things just take a while to set in for certain people. So I'm an idiot. I'm very open about that. It took me a while to figure out that you want to have very, very low power ASICs that can do a very high amount of calculations to be the best solution for Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. However, I do also see the argument that Bitmain has a significant market share in how Bitcoin is created, and we can see currently how that has become an issue because we have Bcash versus Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So that was an unforeseen outcome of having ASICs technically. Apparently Monero's shitcoin alternatives, they're not, the lifespan of those aren't as good when you think about it. So I don't know. I think there is some argument for both, really, theoretically, but it's only something that you could find in practicality, because we didn't anticipate forking and one company being able to do that. And maybe that's only a specific case. Maybe you won't be able to have a fork again because Bitmain share is so big. Who's going to be able to compete with another? There's not going to be another Bitmain ever. There's only going to be things that can compete with Bitmain. But at that time, it's you can't just fork. You'd have multiple forks at that point. It wouldn't just be a bi-directional fork. It'd be a multi-directional fork, because all the different companies can kind of control how the fork is going to be enacted, essentially, because they'll be the ones creating the hash power. I guess I'm just kind of theorizing here. It's not theoretical. Don't quote me on any of this. But it's just fun to think about. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be thinking about this stuff if I didn't have the access to the community that I did. So, whatever. Anyway, so what are we talking about? So, the whole conversation with John, I think John spoke to Dante. And I think I had it with Dante, and I think Dante spoke to John, which is my loyalty with Dante is now out the window, because I spoke to him in confidence. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that he would do that, but I would appreciate more so he'd be look, do you mind if I talk to John about this first? It's just one little extra step there that changes you from being an asshole to a really good person. But I don't know if he did that, so I can't really contribute him doing that or not. Also, Dante doesn't owe me anything. I don't know him on a personal level. He knows John on a personal level. Like, he's a better friend with John than he is with me. So it's really my fault for trusting someone on that degree. But I can't control that. So if I spoke to Dante and then Dante had reiterated information to John and then John felt offended by that, I can't blame John for feeling offended by it and then, saying, hey, look we shouldn't be faggots to each other. I don't really consider me being a faggot to anybody, in quotation marks. But, I mean, I don't really need to, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what you're basing that statement off of. And honestly, I'm just kind of, at this point, I'm available for conversation. You don't need to accuse me of anything. Don't tell me I'm being something and then not actually try to fix it. So with John, that's it. I don't think we'll be doing any more content. I've kept a friendly relationship since that little conversation I just kind of spoke about, but really it's not. I wish him the best. I didn't think Exotica wouldn't be producing any content right now, but they don't seem to haven't done anything in the past couple months. Haven't seen a single person on there live. You know what I mean? I don't feel good about that. It's not like, oh, I told you so. That's not it at all. Because it's not, I told you so. I didn't think it was the best idea in the world, but it's also like, hey, I was trying to, bring a community to fucking Exotica. Like, let's have exclusive Exotica content where, like, we get drunk or something stupid. I don't know. I don't fucking know. We'll do segments or something in the first fucking half, and we'll go on Exotica after. We had 3 fucking shows. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, like, make up. I had a lot of ideas for the show. I still have more ideas. You know what I mean? I'd love to continue doing Bitcoin content. I don't feel like John really has the same drive. And you know what else happened? And I mentioned this to him too, but it kind of jokingly, but kind of not. The Magical Crypto Friends, I think John was really upset he wasn't part of that. So, like, he really wanted that to be his show. Like, that's what he thought our show was going to be. And honestly, like, if he was on that show, I would have been like more than happy for him. Like, I wouldn't, like, that, if that's what he wanted, like, good. I don't really enjoy that show personally. Like, I've listened to maybe like 5 minutes of it total. And I love listening to Fluffy Pony, Charlie Lee. The other 2 guys I don't really know very much, although I know that they're very like influential in the community. I'm not really familiar with them. But I just, that wasn't what I was interested in. Like, we all miss fucking Bitcoin Uncensored, man. That's what we're all trying to go back to. That's what the world needs right now. In fact, maybe the world needed Bitcoin Censored to take a hiatus because it was just too good at the time, and Bitcoin needed to grow. And honestly, Bitcoin Uncensored was not going to let Bitcoin grow in the way that it did because they're the king of, like, bullshit uncovering. So, like, that was it. I mean, maybe in order for Bitcoin to hit 18,000, Bitcoin Uncensored needed to take a hiatus. I don't know any content still today that is comparable for anything. For fucking that was the thing. There is nothing that is comparable to Bitcoin Uncensored for any subject or industry, in my experience. It's like, except maybe To Catch a Predator. Like, that is like the closest thing I can think of to Bitcoin Uncensored. You know what I mean? Like, that really, it was like you're dealing with, like, these horrible criminals, and it's like you're basically fucking, like, getting into the psychology of them and why they think it's okay to just be fucking, like, complete scam artists. That was the best thing in the world. I missed it so much. And the new show, I like John Says World, man. Like, I'm gonna have to go. I haven't really listened to any of the new episodes too much, and, like, I do feel bad. Like, I know fucking Sean puts a lot of fucking effort into the show. He puts a lot of effort in that show, but I don't like hearing the same perspective just rattled off to each other. Like, it's just like, I literally, like, it's the same voice now. Like, those guys, I don't know if they're just hanging out all the time or whatever, but it's like the same person is talking to themselves. And which is basically like my show, But I'm only one person. Like, they're two people. So, whatever. That's that. Okay, so what else? Who else can I talk shit about now? Or did I get it all out of my system? I think that's it. And here's the weird thing. Like, I miss all my relationships with these people. Like, I would talk to John Seth once in a while, and it would be about, like, mostly about, like SEO and stuff. Like, I listened to his other podcast a lot, and that's the shit I liked the most, really. I would listen to, in fact, I listen to that probably more often than I do to John Seth's World at this point. Just because, like, that's, the SEO stuff that's really interesting. Like, it goes across multi different platforms, and he's a real expert in that. Like, it's really interesting to get a good expert in that. Whereas Bitcoin, he's an expert in Bitcoin as well too, but, like, there are some very significant details he doesn't understand about certain things, and that he kind of, like, it's like his expertise is much higher than myself, but our level of journalism is in the same realm. Let's put it like that. Let's just put it like that. I'm eating cookies. They're so goddamn good. I hope I don't sound arrogant, because I'm not trying to make myself sound arrogant or equate myself with any of these other very creative people. It's not that. Like, I'm not jealous or anything like that. I hope that doesn't seem like that at all. Like I said, well, maybe I am jealous. I wish I was more friendly with Bitcoin creatives. There's so much more I wanted to do, and, like, I have ideas today that, like, I'm trying to do. But it's like, it's hard to just be by yourself doing things like this, because you don't have anybody to check with you. Like, there's no one to really, like, I can't go like, hey man, I have this idea about doing a commercial this way. What do you think? You know what I mean? Like, I can't, like, I can ask my dad, but he doesn't know fucking anything about fucking, like, cryptocurrency. I can't ask, like, any friends or anything. Like, they don't know anything. I need to ask, like, Bitcoin people. But I don't have that tight group that I always wanted. I don't think I'll ever get it. But maybe that's really a good thing. Maybe it's a really good thing. And I don't know. I still love all those people that I mentioned. Like, I don't hate John. I do love John. Like, I think he's a great person. I do think that we had some weird business stuff. I don't know if, look, I said a lot of negative things. Partially, it's me doing the podcast character a bit, because it's funnier when I say things more negatively. But, like, I don't say this in a way that I want to completely remove somebody from my life. I'm just putting things in a matter of fact and how it looks, and shining a humorous light on it. But I will say things, like, it will come off in a way that is very abrasive and can be offensive. And I don't mean it to be causing any type of explosive interactions, but it certainly would be considered fodder for it. So it's not, like I said, it's not my intention to create any backlash or any getting people upset. But like I said, that conversation I had with John is from a year ago, and all this other stuff has kind of stemmed from it subsequently. So I figured I'd put it out there. I wanted to continue doing content. I don't think I've released an episode since, like, April. Probably before. I don't know if I did a birthday episode, but that was when my birthday was. So I think that's actually when I stopped releasing this content. It was coincidentally right around the huge pump. I saw an article about Bitfinex talking about how the Rothschilds are the ones controlling the U.S. dollar tether. That's all I've actually read about Bitcoin recently. But I like Bitfinex, man. I'd love to talk to him. I don't know why he doesn't really get the credit he deserves. But he called so much shit early on. But yeah, right when he started becoming public, that's like kind of when I like faded out with everything. I don't know. I think that everybody thinks that Bitcoin's down right now. I don't, it's like the highest it really has ever been. Like $18,000 is crazy. Everybody knew that. I don't know what the fuck you guys were thinking. Like that's really like $6,000 is just fine. Like that's all right. I think it takes some time for people to realize that, but like really, like where everybody's just we're fine and dandy. Okay, you're realizing that this is all some manipulative bullshit, and like we're still in the infancy. It's like the baby town frolics of Bitcoin right now. All right. Anyway, did I get everything? So I think most importantly, I wanted to get this out in the beginning too. I am starting to finally come to the idea that ASICs are smart, so Bitcoin makes sense. There are some anonymity features of Monero that I think are very unique, that also are something to be considered. But as far as the mining question goes, I don't think Monero is wrong, but I do see how Bitcoin makes sense. But I do think Monero tries to, or at least makes an attempt to protect against bad actors with mining, and you may see an example of that in Bitmain, or maybe not. I don't know. Bitmain and also Bcash. So that was one of the major things I want to talk about. I don't know if I've expressed that in any other episodes, but that's like kind of been like my whole journey this whole time, is like whether or not Bitcoin makes sense or not. Bitcoin is an interesting product. Put it like that, and I do think that it is very useful, but it's not useful unless we all believe in it. And if we all believe in it, and if a lot of people have a little bit of it, or if a little people have a lot of bit of it, it can be easily manipulated, and we may be being exposed to that, most likely. Okay. I also want to talk about John, Seth, Dan, John, and Dante, and Sean, and Chris, and bullshit tokens. I think I took care of that. So, John, love you, buddy. Don't know what the fuck's going on with Exotica. I hope it's doing okay. Maybe we'll work together in the future. None of what I'm saying on this podcast should be news. I might be saying it in a rude way, and I'm being very serious right now, but not like, oh, I'm being serious now. Okay, you take me serious, but like I'm being genuine, like I'm being very sincere. Like it's not something, I'm not trying to create a problem between us. Whereas I don't feel like I was necessarily treated fairly. I felt like you're kind of being blind to some things I was saying. Maybe I just didn't understand everything you're trying to say, but like really, I don't feel like you really ever heard me out. And I had some really good things I was saying. I felt like I was really trying to keep everybody in mind. And you were just saying, hey, look it, man, all you're doing is focusing on the money. It's like, you're focusing on the money, guy. Don't flip that shit on me. But whatever. Anyway. John, that's that. Dan, I don't know what the fuck, man. Like, I prayed. I got down on my knees late at night. I put Jesus' dick in my mouth. I said, please, let Dan Anderson be my friend. Nope. I think that turns people off, though, and I understand that, though. Like, I am very, like, jokingly aggressive about friendship. And I think maybe he thought like that's like a scam. Like he smokes weed, I smoke weed. He talks about Bitcoin, I talk about Bitcoin. He has a Bitcoin show. Like I listened to his Bitcoin show, and it ended up inspiring me to do Bitcoin content myself. I would have really liked to have been like on friendly terms with him. And to some degree, kind of where I went to the Bitcoin or the counterparty meetup. But like, I don't know if it's just his monotone, whatever, or whatever it is. And like he's humorous, but like I guess our just personalities didn't meld, whatever. I just hope that he didn't think I was trying to take advantage of him in a business sense, because that is not my intention whatsoever. And if he ends up hearing about this and like wants to reconsider stuff, I would always love to have a conversation with him at any point. But I don't know. I really don't know. And like I said, maybe he was just pumping. And hopefully he doesn't take it too offensively if I think that's what the case was. And I called him out on it. So I don't know. That's Dan. John Seth. John Seth. Get your show together, guy. What the fuck? Stop having everybody on your show fucking leave, all right? There's clearly an issue that you have with people on your show not wanting to be on your show anymore. It's not them all the time, I'm going to guess. So, that's that. And let's see. Chris, I feel bad for... I talk shit about Chris, and then I end up being very hypocritical, and I actually put an apology. I think one of my last episodes was an apology to Chris. Like, Chris is, once again, one of those people that inspired me. He enabled me. He would promote my Monero apparel content much more so than anybody else. Well, I probably not more than John Seth. There's another thing. I don't know if I mentioned that too, but he wanted me to make a t-shirt for him, and then he ended up never fucking buying my t-shirt. What the fuck was that about? The John Seth was right shit. Like, he was like, yo, can you make this t-shirt for me? Hit me up about it. I made it for him, and he was like, oh, my girlfriend doesn't like it. Who the fuck cares about your dyke fucking girlfriend, John Seth? You idiot. Buy my fucking shit I just made for you, fat fuck. Jesus Christ. Who cares about your double chin? Fuck you. Anyway. That's a little bit of a joke, but not really. Oh, goddamn. And then, so that's John Seth, Chris, Dante. What the fuck? Are you joking? You fucking snitch motherfucker? Are you joking me? Seriously. That's all I gotta say to Dante. And, who else? So, Dan, Dante, John Seth, Chris, John... Vake. Thank you, man. I don't know why you support me, but really, this episode's for you, buddy. I hope you listen to this. I don't know why you've taken a liking to me, and really sometimes like I'll put up fucking just Twitter comments just because, you know what? Vake will think this is funny. So thanks, dude. I appreciate you just being there, man. Thanks, dude. And what else? Michael Tidwell. I really want to get in contact with you, man. I don't know what you're doing or who you're working with. You know what? We might not be able to. It might not work out. But if you mentioned to me at one point you wanted to do something with me. I think you were just being nice because we were talking with Dan. And you said something you wanted to do something with Dan too, but. I don't know. Mike, if you ever want to do something, I'd be very curious about it, to be honest. I think your content comes from the right place. I like your mindset. I think you're a cool dude. You're much more intellectual on the Bitcoin level than I will ever be, and I very much respect that. And I'm an older individual, kind of, we're not in the same age range, but like, we're like the younger generation of Bitcoiners. I would say I'm like on the upper edge of the younger generation of Bitcoiners, and Tidwell is like at the lower levels of the early generation of Bitcoiners, or younger generation. But still, like, I got a lot of respect for that dude. I love his content, and he's gonna be doing some great shit in the future, and he might even be doing great shit right now. I have no idea. I really haven't been paying attention, but like, that's it. So I wanted to mention those guys. I think that's it, right? Fuck, I wonder if there's anybody else that didn't mention that they're going to be pissed off. There's some other people I talk to, but like, it's not like we're going to talk about show stuff. But that's it. I think this is it, guys. This is Altcoins Anonymous. My name is Devin J. Dawson. You can find me on Twitter, on Uncle Muscles. I put up stupid status updates from time to time. Generally, I will put on UFC commentary on there, and that's about it. I also have other means that you can contact me on, but don't. I'd rather just contact me there. And I'd rather them not be linked to any of the other ones if possible, but, you know, do what you need to do. And that is it, guys. This show is over, and I enjoyed making content for you. I don't know. There's at least 3, I think it's 5 total episodes that are not released for Altcoins Anonymous. And everything that was covered in those shows was basically just summed up right now. So you don't really need to go back and listen to them. I may or may not release them depending on if there's any backlash on this or if anybody listens to this at all. But I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've released I've recorded quite a few episodes, and I never put them out there because I wasn't really sure, and I think it's over. I think I'm done with it. I don't want it to be the case, but I don't really see any reason to come back right now to Altcoins Anonymous. Like I said, I had a little bit of an epiphany. Like, I understand ASICs, and so maybe I'm not much of a altcoiner as much as I am a Bitcoiner now, but I don't really have any fucking Bitcoin. I don't really have any fucking anything, so it's not, I'm not really anything. I'm just a person that does commentary and shit I don't know anything about. And that's just, pretty much the world in a nutshell. So, hopefully you enjoyed this content. Hopefully my format was fulfilling. Hopefully you gained something from this. Hopefully if I do something in the future, you'd be interested in listening to that too. But I bid you all adieu. I bid you all a little doo-doo. And that's it. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hopefully there'll be more in the future. If not under the Altcoins Anonymous guys, maybe under Bit by Bit or maybe something else. But that's it, man. Appreciate it. Wish y'all the best. Now's a great time to buy. And I'll be seeing you guys during those all-time highs. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.